Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're exploring what might literally be the single biggest shift in American home design right now. For over 20 years, the ultimate real estate dream was super simple, right? You walk into a house, you grab a sledgehammer, and you knock down absolutely every wall in sight. We worshipped at the altar of light and flow. But as we look at the landscape of 2026, the pendulum is swinging back in a massive way, and the architectural layout of our daily lives is transforming right beneath our feet. We're moving way beyond the massive, completely open floor plan, and what's taking its place is so much smarter, and frankly, just so much more beautiful. Okay, let's dive into this because this number is just staggering. According to a recent survey from the National Association of Home Builders, only 34% of buyers now list a completely open kitchen family room as a must-have. 34%! That is a monumental, sharp drop from its absolute peak over the last decade. It tells us that the vast majority of people out there are actively looking for something entirely different when they envision their ideal living space. Which naturally leads us to a pretty provocative question. Is the open floor plan actually dead? Have 2 decades of sledgehammering interior walls finally come to an end? Well, the short answer is that the reign of the cavernous, undefined great room, yeah, that's certainly over. But the long answer, the really fascinating answer, is about how our homes are adapting to a completely new set of human needs. We aren't going backward here, we're evolving.
To understand this evolution, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the open concept decline. Second, why open plans failed us. Third, enter the broken plan layout. Fourth, the real cost of walls. And finally, 3 questions before renovating.
All right, jumping right into Section 1, the open concept decline.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trap that homeowners and designers have literally been falling into for years. You know, people often feel like they're trapped in this false binary. On one hand, you've got the cavernous great room. It's loud, zero privacy, and every single dirty dish in the sink is fully exposed the second you walk through the front door. But on the other hand, you've got the dark 1970s home. People are absolutely terrified that if they put up a single wall, they'll be shoved right back into these cramped, isolated, claustrophobic little boxes. But the massive shift in 2026 is that modern design actively, aggressively rejects both of these extremes. You do not have to choose between living in an echo chamber or a cave.
Let's move on to Section 2, why open plans failed us.
You see, this shift isn't just a matter of changing aesthetic tastes. It's really about practical, everyday function. In practice, the completely open concept fails us on 3 specific fronts. First up, acoustics. In a fully open space, sound just travels everywhere. I mean, picture the noise from the dishwasher running, someone blasting the television, and you trying to take an important work call. All of those noises are competing in the exact same sonic space, creating an incredibly stressful environment. Second is clutter. There's zero containment. The kitchen's prep zone is totally visible, kids' toys take over the adult living space. There's simply no hiding the mess. And third, privacy. The open plan offers absolutely zero escape. There's no quiet retreat to just go and decompress.
But what really accelerated this failure? Well, permanent hybrid and remote work completely transformed the home into a place of production. The home just isn't only a place of rest anymore. Plus, we're living in a higher interest rate environment now, in 2026, meaning fewer people are moving. So instead of buying a bigger house to get more space, families are staying put. They have to make their current footprints work way harder. Your house suddenly has to simultaneously function as an office, a gym, a school, and a sanctuary. And a giant empty box? It just can't do all of that at once.
Which brings us to Section 3, enter the broken plan layout.
So, the crucial point is understanding what a broken plan layout actually is. It's a design strategy that maintains the light and flow of an open concept, but introduces elements of separation to create distinct functional zones. It's basically the absolute best of both worlds. You get that generous feeling of spaciousness for sure, but you also get the utility, the privacy, and the acoustic control of separate rooms. You aren't closing off the house, you're just smartly dividing it. So how are they doing it? By using some incredibly beautiful strategies and materials. Designers are installing interior glass partitions framed in gorgeous unlacquered brass, which lets all the light through but stops the sound dead in its tracks. They're using high-performance pocket doors to section off a den when you need it and then completely hiding them away when you don't. We're seeing incredible custom fluted white oak millwork acting as visual screens between a kitchen prep zone and a seating area. And oh, a huge return of kitchen peninsulas and wide cased openings to define a workspace without actually walling it off. It really brings this abstract concept of zones to vivid architectural life.
Let's look at Section 4, the real cost of walls.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the financial reality check. Aspirational design theory is fantastic, but changing a layout means dealing with real structural budgets. Notice the extreme difference in cost depending on the kind of wall you're touching. Based on 2026 national averages, removing a non-load-bearing 12-foot wall costs between $800 and $2,500. Not too bad, right? That includes your demo and drywall patching. Adding a new interior standard wall with a doorway jumps up slightly to between $2,500 and $6,000. But removing a load-bearing wall, that is exponentially more expensive, ranging from $4,000 to $15,000, and often going way higher. Why? Because you're paying for a structural engineer's report, massive laminated veneer lumber beams, and some seriously heavy finish work.
And you really need to keep this crucial context in mind. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that skilled labor rates can vary by as much as 40% between major metropolitan areas. Basically, your zip code changes your budget dramatically. Furthermore, the NAHB stresses that if your home is over 30 years old, you absolutely must add a 10 to 15% contingency fund. Why? Because of the inevitable, expensive surprises hiding right behind that old drywall. Trust me, they're always there.
Okay, on to our final section. Section 5, 3 questions before renovating. Let's move to analyze and see how this builds a foolproof renovation strategy. Before you start swinging a hammer or calling a contractor, you need a solid plan. Step 1, analyze your 9-to-5 usage. You've got to be brutally honest here. Expose the gap between your aspirational life and your daily reality. Like, where do you actually take your work calls? Where does the clutter naturally pile up? Step 2, clarify the specific problem you're trying to solve. Are you seeking better traffic flow, more natural light, or just an aesthetic update? Figure out exactly what the goal is. And step 3, explore partial separation over full removal. Instead of taking down an entire wall, could a wide-cased opening solve the problem for a fraction of the cost?
And here's a fun little bonus tip. You can actually achieve a broken plan layout without a single bit of renovation. You can subtly divide a massive room just by using large area rugs to anchor different zones. A tall, open-back bookshelf can create a visual barrier without blocking a single drop of natural light. Simply placing a sofa strategically can create a makeshift hallway to direct foot traffic. Even just using complementary paint colors and a note can instantly signal to your brain that you're entering a brand new zone.
This quote really summarizes the entire core philosophy of the 2026 shift. The new luxury is a home that works for its inhabitants, providing both connection and sanctuary. You know, the minimalist, echoing, cavernous white box decade is completely over. The future of design is entirely human-centered. It's about recognizing that we are complex creatures who need places to gather together, absolutely, but we also desperately need places to retreat, focus, and recharge. It values everyday function just as much as magazine cover form.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Look around your home today and ask yourself, does your layout serve how you actually live, or just how it looks on social media? It might finally be time to stop knocking down walls and start thinking about how to build a space that truly supports your life. Thanks for exploring this with me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.